I said about the aligning, I can grab them, and then I want to align it center, and then I want to put that to the top, and so here's the top align one.
I just realised if that's empty, I'm not going to have enough to hold it all together.
Yeah,
Does
so
that matter though?
well, yeah, no, you're right. Like, so where are people drawing the circles?
So that becomes the chin. So it's just a stencil. So this is a face. So you can see I've got the eyes there. So they've just got to put that circle there, and then they're going to get their chin line. And then this is the eye circles, but I realised that's going to be empty. So I was going to draw it somewhere where there's solid space. Because then they'll go, okay, let's put this over the eye markers that I've got here for them.
Okay, yeah. So but you can see how quickly you can actually get very accurate.
Yeah.
And once two objects are exactly where you want them, I would group them. So you know, say you draw that kind of a thing, you can grab those three together and group. And then they will then move as a group, and then you can like copy, paste,
cool. So
and then
copy those little
bring the other one over, you know. And then if you wanted to align it perfectly in the center, to get a center line there, I would grab that 1200 by 600. Wrong 600. 60. And then you can align these two together, you know, with their tops and stuff. Line top and center. I can't do the same thing, but let's get them together. Right, so now you've got those two with a center line that you can work with.
Nice. Yeah. So I might just have to pop that down a little bit. How many mils do you think it needs?
For structure?
Yeah.
I guess that's a bit of, you
Just
know,
like
trial
one
and
or
error.
two.
Yeah, you think about your thickness of the material. If it's
2
2
mil.
mil thick, 2 mil, a nice square. And so another cool feature, you see how it's kind of locking. There's this little thing here when you're changing the size of things, it changes it in relation to, you know, where it is, you know, so it's a really cool way of like, let's see, you've got the X position here too, you want to move that down 2 mil. You know, it's a Y position, we want to move down 2 mil, so 7, 9, and that's exactly 2 mil down.
Perfect.
So it's really, if you work with all of those, you can get it where you want.
Yeah. That's an awesome start. So I just gotta find all my little points now.
Yeah, and again, I would just sort of grid that out somewhere, and you know, and then group them, and then
I just rubbed that on my measurements and I took a photo. And so, what are we gonna do here with these? Would you just put a dot there
are we like, are you making it a square?
No, it's a circle. I could make it a square though.
Because if it's a square, you can kind of put markers. You could kind of like do a line, and then you know, these are all just lines, and then the actual outside is cut. You know.
So it would be like at every point there'd be like a little connector to the square. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So let's expand this. So I changed that to center. So if I take this to what are we going? Let's go another, you know, 10 centimeters of 1 centimeter all the way around. So that's 5 mil all the way around. Notice how I just changed it down and grew outwards. So that way I don't have to recenter it. It's all fine. You know? That way you could move that back up to the top there because you've got that you know, border there. But then you can draw little carrots into here. Now I haven't done carrots before.
Well, what do you mean by carrots? Are they little strips?
That's a carrot.
Yeah, but I don't need that. That's just my marker. Like if
so it could just be a line.
Yeah, exactly. If it's easier to do lines that connect them.
You can do it, you know. Okay. Change the size. Yeah. Here's another really cool tool. I think if I draw that around there, I can cut that away from each other. Let's see. No, it's not going to let me. It's not a closed-in shape. Yeah, you can do it with joining shapes together, but I don't know if you can cut with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy with lines if that's easier. Just to, because how would these work? That would be.
So the laser would draw it softer.
Right.
And
so it'd be more specific point for them to draw on. You're saying than having a line.
Both would work.
Yeah.
You would see that easier than a
yeah,
level
no,
plane
I like
line.
that. I like that.
You just gotta, maybe draw that more accurate, so just a freehand one. But yeah, you could do them, around. And so, again, you got the different layers here. So you can make red as in just a soft one, and let's say red is cut, and green is just an engrave or something.
Okay.
So anything you want cut, make it red.
Yeah.
Anything you just want to be a marker, do a different colour.
Yeah. So I need them to be able to get through the plastic at that point.
So you need them to draw. So you need them to draw the line.
Yeah, like it's
I
a
think
point
I've
for
got
them. Yeah, it's a point for them to know because they're going to join those lines together with their ruler.
So they got to draw some kind of a mark there.
Yeah.
So a line probably would work better because you can put your pencil in and scribe it back and forth or something. Or a dot.
Yeah, another dot. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll just do that other dot now that you've solved that problem because I was thinking of it being a circle.
Because the dots would be simple, and if
and they're.
take away and get the rule and draw the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it depends what they're drawing with. If it's a
Well, I'm
lead
gonna make
pencil,
sure they
you
use one of
can't,
these.
make a dot. You just hit it with a dot. You need to actually have friction to move it, and so that makes sense.
Well, I wanted them to have one of them that pokes through.
So if you just poke that through, see how they're just poking it, it's not making a sound.
No.
But if they put a line,
Well, I just get them to go like this. I just say, just go like,
So it's a big hole.
Yeah, it's a bigger hole.
Yeah.
Gives them a bit of space.
Yeah. So in that case, okay. Bigger hole.
Yeah.
And again, to make that more accurate.
Yeah. Okay. There's that circle. So that's all. Is that a one? What is that? How big is that circle?
That's 1 mil.
Okay. Do you
Hard
think that's
time.
big enough?
Oh, one way to find out.
So,
Put a hole in something.
Yeah. I think it'd need to be 2 mils. Or 1.5 at least.
So I got that right. See how it snaps to that point? And so we don't want it to move. So again, that's in the middle, and we take that to 2, it's going to
Are you
keep
going to
it.
remember this?
Oh, I'm recording, so
Oh,
I can look
awesome.
back.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So down the end here, these ones are called tool paths. So they'll never cut anything out, and that's why I used, for the boxes that we wanted to just sort of use as our rulers, I made them tools.
Okay.
And then all the other lines that we want to actually cut, we just pick one from here. And really at this point, you're choosing what each colour means,
Okay.
And
And
then
how
when
can
you
we
come
define
up...
how wide the cuts are?
Okay, so it's a laser. So there is, I guess, no real width to
Oh,
that.
okay, so it's just
it's
width.
going to put the laser right in the centre and,
Yeah.
And so I think you probably could measure. It really depends on the material and everything like that. You'd actually have to make a cut and measure how actually thick the cut is, to know. But it's like 0.1 of a mil. Actually it might be 0.1 of a mil either side, so maybe 0.2 of a mil actual line. But depending on how your focal point you are, you could do a thicker line or a skinnier line.
Yeah, because I need it to be probably 2 mils each line, I'd say.
So if you need an actual 2
Or
mil
1.5,
hole,
yeah.
that means that you're going to be drawing 2 lines.
Okay.
So one for the outer, one for the inner, and then what you're left with that. But can you see the problem if we did that? So let's just, actually, I'll show you another cool thing that this does. I want a skinnier line on the inside here. That's exactly what this button does.
Okay.
So any shape you want to draw another line offset around, you just pick that and say how big you want it.
Yeah.
You want to go out or in or both.
Yeah.
In this case, we go in, 1 mil, okay, boom, there's 2 lines.
So good.
So
what's the problem?
that centre one's going to disappear. You cut the outer one out, then you cut the inner one out, and you pick it up, and you've just got the outer piece.
Yeah, so that's going to be a hole.
That's going to be a full hole.
Yeah, but that's what I anticipated.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted thickness though.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, what you do in this case...
why don't I need it on that one then?
Well, what you could do is just put little breakers.
Yes.
And so it's only cutting out...
Okay.
And they just go draw.
Yeah, and then I'll keep my eye in the centre. So I need another eye with a little pupil in the centre now.
Yeah. So you want to make these little bridges so that it just cuts out those ones.
So it just cuts in between.
Yeah, so they can just draw.
So what we need to do for that, let's make that a 1 mil bridge.
Yeah.
And so that it's going to be accurate to front and back.
Perfect.
Let's go all the way.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So you've just saved me
I think I've done this before. So now we want to get all of that centered.
Yes.
So we use that center one. Now he's going to move it around again, but we'll work that out later, right? Now here's the tricky part. I want those two to be an object. Okay, so those two I've just grouped together. So that's one object, right? Because I'm then going to join it with this object.
Okay.
And one of these buttons, you never know which one, so you press it.
Okay.
That's the wrong one.
Okay.
Let's go to the other one.
Oh, cool.
That's the wrong one. Let's try a different one. Okay, I need it to cut it out. There we go. Third time's a charm. So sometimes it doesn't know which shape you want to cut away from which shape.
No.
So if you press it once and it's the wrong one, but you know that's the button you want, you just undo it and press it again, and it does it the other way around. And so let's do it again for this one. So grab both those shapes, and that's the cutaway one. Wrong way, undo, right way. And so now that's going to cut out
nice.
and
Oh my
there.
goodness, that's amazing.
So you said you want an eye in the centre,
Yes,
is that
please.
right?
So that eye has to be this size here, the 12 size. So let me just measure.
That's 12.
So that's 1 centimetre. Oh, that's inches. Sorry. It's 1 point. Is that 1, 2, 3? 1.3 centimetres.
I'd take a good estimation and say that's actually 12 millimetres.
Oh, is that why it's got this problem?
Maybe.
Well, I wasn't sure about that. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at. I'm so sorry. How stupid am I? Thank you.
All right,
I'm
so
thinking it. Dear me.
let's centre that now.
Thank
so
you.
that's centred to that.
So then, and then
did
this
you
one's
want
a
it?
4.
So that's kind of what you want again. Do you want us to do this similar kind of a pattern so it keeps it there, or do you want it gone?
Actually, we can make it gone and then do the little pupil next to it. Oh no, let's do it inside because then they're going to be really accurate. It'll be centered.
So they
for
could
them.
just, do the 4 sides again, and then they can do the little circle in the middle.
And the circle in the middle will be 4.
All right. So, oh wow, first try.
Oh
Look at
wow,
that.
perfection.
I wonder if it's
No, just got
listening.
a sensor.
Yeah. Let's grab all of that so it all centers together.
So good.
All right. So,
So
this
yeah,
is
so now
tricky
we've got to
'cause-
make that one.
Are we gonna do?
This 1.5 mil, I'd say.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, do we do this thing again? Yeah, see that's a 1. Okay. So that centre hole can be totally gone, but we need these things again.
Is it possible to get this bigger one, copy it, and then scale it down?
It would be, except for when you shrink it, you're going to shrink the thickness of the line.
Ah, good point. Yeah. We'll lose that. These ones. Under 1 mil.
That centre one doesn't really matter because it's gone anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just really concerned about these outer ones. So I'll just get all of that centered. Okay. And again, we want to group these 2 together so that we know which shape we're taking away from what shape. And then we do that one again, undo, Now, that might be strong enough.
Yeah, I'd say it would be. It's only so small. Let's leave it like that.
So yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
I thought you were actually doing the Death Star.
Yeah, it's actually covered, isn't it? So that's centered, is it?
Well, that's centered to that, but this is not centered to the bigger shape.
Okay.
So let's group that now, so it's happy. And then before what we did, let's group this all, so that all stays as one piece. Although actually I didn't want to do that one. I wanted this inner one here. So I'll grab those two, because we just need to now vertically center that lot.
Yes.
And then we can either just either manually move that up. Depends.
Yeah, let's do that. If
Like, where do you want that to?
well, that's all solid there now, isn't it?
It is.
But we're going to be drawing this outside line too, so it's got to have enough space for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to move things around,
Okay.
you know, and realign after
Yeah.
the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, this one here,
Yeah.
we're making that a cut line.
Yeah.
And are we doing the same thing where
Yes.
they can kind of
Yes.
draw and draw?
Yeah.
All right. So again, this time we want to. Are we going out or in?
Can we go equally either side?
I thought you might say that. Yes, we can. So what we want to do then is, if it's do a little math in our head, we just got to take 1/2 mil away from the diameter.
Okay.
So if it's 120 by 120, we just want to make that 19, and it's a full mil skinnier. Let's just see how that looks. And then if I grow that by 1 mil, so I think, okay, is that gonna do it? No, that's 121,
Beautiful.
and that's 119.
Yeah.
So I
perfect.
guess,
So 2 mil.
Yeah. 2 mils perfect.
is it 2 mil? I think that is only
Well,
1 mil.
Well,
But yeah.
is the inside going to be 120? That's probably the most important.
Yeah, we'll find out. So again, because we've got these little bridges, we could do it a way where the bridge is actually a point where you're stopping, you know?
Yes.
And so, you know, if they come around and stop at that
Yeah.
bridge, they know the line is,
Yeah,
you know, where the
exactly.
bridge is.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what what I thought you were meaning before with the carrots.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so-
I didn't have a good full picture of
No.
how it was going to be.
No, you've done amazing.
Alright, so that's the 1 mil height, and I'll bring it all, gotta remember to change. Oh, grab it for 1. Alright. You may want more tags, because it'll be too floppy, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
It's pretty solid plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
we
one way
can
to find
make
out.
these other points tags. Like there's that bottom.
Yeah,
bottom
yeah.
point
So you'll have a
comes
few.
down. Yeah.
All right. So looking at this here, looks like, so that's the exact halfway, and so that's now broadened. Actually, that's a really good indication that we've got it right. You know, but that's going to be where nothing is. So they're going to draw the line down there and stop there.
Yeah, but I need
And
to
then-
stop there.
Yeah.
So we're bring it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
stop there,
Yeah.
and then they can. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Amazing.
Alright, let's just group that. Do the same kind of takeaway. Shift as well to grab
Okay.
individual objects. Another really cool feature of this is when I drag this way, notice how it didn't select anything?
Right.
But when I drag this way, it selects everything it touches.
Okay.
So this way, you've got to actually select the whole thing you want.
Right.
And so sometimes you get heaps of objects, it's easy to drag down and say, I want that whole thing. Or it's like easy to just grab everything the mouse touches this way.
Yeah, okay.
So they do different things. So what was I doing again? I was going this way,
Yeah.
grabbing both of them, and then doing the whole takeaway thing. There we go. So
Okay.
we've got that coming down. Any carrots at the top? Yeah, there was one
Yeah.
at the top.
Equal at the bottom.
Yeah, it's the same.
Equal top and bottom?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So 12. I like those two to stay where they are now, so I'm going to group them together.
Yeah.
Let's group that together as well. And now I should be able to just center all of that.
Oh, perfect.
And that's brought it in there.
That's amazing.
Now we're just grabbing that and that. Now here I might need a ungroup because I don't want it to cut this middle one.
Exactly, yeah.
So we'll bring them and ungroup them, group that again. I guess the ungroup didn't work. There we go.
Okay.
Grab that. Take away, no. Oh, right. No, sorry, that did do it. First try. Alright.
And now you regroup. Okay.
It's getting there.
It is looking very whatever.
Yeah, it's not what
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess the tricky part now is just drawing some boxes to find where those outer lines are and stuff like that. But what we can do for time's sake is just to show you some burning.
Sure.
Forgot the rule number 1.
Save.
All of that time we could have just lost if the computer had a brain fart.
Yeah.
And so
where do you want us to save?
just under the documents for now. Alright, and so what are you calling this one? Face template?
Yeah, that will do. It's just missing an L.
Yeah. That's how I roll.
Yeah. We can
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's think. Yeah, that might work. I don't know if you wanted another little gap there, but you know what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Alright. So yeah, saving that, just save often.
Okay.
I would use the tools again to kind of and then it doesn't matter the width, it can just go out wider. So draw a box that high, that high, that high, and that wide, and then center them, and that should give you where the crossovers are, and then you can go and draw the cutouts, and then just snip them out just like that. But that's actually I probably left the hardest bit for you. That was
well, you gave us a
one.
very good head start.
All right, so now burning. Here we are cutting everything. We're not going to draw on anything. So we've just got our line. So we've got.
But just saying that, am I able to print any words on it or anything like that?
Yeah, you can. And it's every time you use a different medium though, you got to do a little bit of trial and error. So you start with a guess based on other things that you've burnt, and then you just work from that. Sometimes when I'm using a brand new medium, I'll just draw a bunch of boxes, and I'll pick a different box, a different color, and I'll go through and change the settings on each box, and then I'll print that out and I'll see which box I like best, and then that's the one I use for everything. So I'd use tall, skinny kind of ones. They should go pretty fast. Don't do anything too small because you'll find, unless everything is really small, so it might burn those holes different to it burns that, because the laser, it's got inertia and it takes a while to speed up, right? And so the longer that the laser's on a point, the more it's burning. So if it's moving really slowly, it's burning that material, really well. It moves fast, and it's, obviously, doesn't go as deep or as hard. So you just got to find the right mix of how much power you put into it and how fast you go, and that's how clean of a line you get. And so you work with those two different factors, the speed and the power. The most powerful you want to go is 70%. You can take it to 100%, but it just burns the laser out quicker. So 70% is what we've dialed in to say is max power. And so if you're burning something that you think needs a lot of power, put it at 70% and then just work with your speeds. Now, something that you don't need a lot of power, say I was cutting out paper, I'd probably put it on like 10%, and then I would just sort of work out my speeds to figure out what's right. Now, the minimum speed is 6%. Anything lower than 6, the laser doesn't fire. So it needs at least 6% to actually fire the laser. So I'd go anything between 10 and 70% for the actual power. But what I was saying about the size of the things. So if it draws that little circle, it's going to be slower than drawing that circle. So even if I say move at 100 speed, right? It actually takes a while to speed up to 100. Just think of your car, you accelerate, you take a while to get to 100. And so if I say draw these holes at 70% power at at 100 speed, the reality is it's probably only going to do it at like speed 10 because it can't speed up to 100 in that small space. So I'll actually burn it better. So if you do all your test cuts on something really small and you're like, oh wow, that's the perfect speed and power, then you do a big circle at the same speed and power, it won't cut through because it actually speeds up to the 100 and goes at the true speed, and so you want to find shapes that actually mimic, I guess, the size of what you're doing to work out that power. So that's just don't test with too small of a hole unless everything's really small. Test with, at least 2 centimeters, can speed up in that, and also it can go faster horizontally than it can go vertically. But that's just because it's got less to move that way. So even though I drew the shapes like that as a test, it'd be much better to draw a bunch of test shapes like this. So that way you can kind of like get a good feel of, what's the right speed and power. And so then once you've got that, then you can do your whole project in that. And it doesn't take up too much material to do a ladder test. I probably should save a ladder test file somewhere, draw them all, do all the different things, save that, and that way you can just open up the test thing, run it on your new material, and whatever you're happy with. So yes, so we could, I don't know, obviously I don't want to ram it into it, so that's that. Now I'm just thinking you've got a thin, actually yours is 2 mil, so we can get what you want, put that in. Like you really want to dial it in, so you want your piece to be as flat as possible, and that's what these are for. If your piece is too flexible, you can kind of flatten it out, but that will crash into it. So you just want to make sure it's clear of your actual work area. And when you turn the machine on, it homes and comes back again. So I'll always put it on this side. That way when I turn it on, it's not gonna, crash into it. So it's, that's pretty good. Now I'll move that to the top corner of my work piece and then set the origin there. So now that when I tell it to do something, it's going to do it from that point in origin on my piece. And then I'll just measure what I'm working with so I know I'm not going to crash into that. And so that's 150, so we know your project's 1200. So that's going to be perfect right inside there, there by there. So we'll close that. Another thing I can do sometimes just to test the focus is do a little pulse. So I can move it somewhere where I don't want to, it's not going to wreck my project. And I can do a little pulse and a line. And so you can see that line that it just did. I can open it back up now if you like.
Wow.
So that's when you're saying how thick the line is. Now when I started, did you see how it did a thicker line? That's because it was slowly moving. But then as it sped up, the line got nice and skinny. So let's move that back to the top corner. Re-origin. Drop that down. Alright. So, there's lots of options here. Some is cut selected graphics only. So if you've got that ticked, you've got to actually select what you want to cut. So that's usually what I do because sometimes I've got lots of things on the bed and I only want to print one thing. So I'll have cut selected graphics. This use selected origin, see that little green dot there? That's where the laser is right now. That's the use origin. So everything's going to go from that. You can move that around. So if you wanted to set the origin to the other side and have to go the other way, or right in the middle, So if you were doing a round piece and you had the middle punched, you could actually go to the center and say, oh yeah, do it from the center. So lots of cool options there. And the other thing is you want to make sure that user origin is actually selected there as well. Otherwise, it could do it. All have different behaviors. Optimized cut path, that just means it's going to do the outer cut very last and just other useful things. If we go this preview here, it tells you how long it will take, 1.3 minutes. So a real quick one, and it actually shows you the direction, and you can actually play to see what it's going to do. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah. Alright. So this is a little thicker than your one.
Yeah.
So you might not be hard accurate to see how those things work. And it's a harder material, so it might not even cut through or make a big mess. So max power, because it's a hard material, 20 to go slow. Those are usually my default cut settings on a bit of a wood. Number of passes 1, so that should go through it. But if you're ever cutting something really hard, that you can actually do a second pass and it'll get through on the second pass. You can always do a frame first. So if you're a bit worried about is it going to crash into something, and you don't want to, if I hit frame, that's actually going to draw around the, where it's going to put it. And so it's useful to actually see before you cut. You want to hit frame again?
Yeah. Oh, so did it just, okay, it just shows you.
And there's 2 frame options. There's the square one and there's the circle one. So if you've got an intricate thing, it can frame it on the outer border, or it can just do a quick circle or straight around it.
Okay.
That's ready to go. We can just hit start and away it will burn. So that should be running.
Are you meant to look at the laser light?
Yeah, this protects you for that, but it's super bright.
Yeah.
So you can see the red laser, but the actual laser that's cutting is invisible. So so if I turn the red laser off, you wouldn't see anything there, but it's obviously still burning. And yeah.
And so all that smoke just comes out when you open it. Oh no, okay.
Yeah, so that's what the fan is sucking it out.
Yeah.
But you can see why we need to clean the lenses every now and then, because all that smoke can actually get on the lenses.
Yeah.
And right now it's reflecting off, but if there's a lot of soot on it, it can actually heat the lenses up and damage them. And so we clean them on the cheek here.
Oh, I see.
So I'm actually doubtful that that's punched all the way through, because they're such small ones, but just a quick test. Yeah. The little bit of stuff I've done on the acrylic has actually worked quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can kind of see the smoke coming out from underneath, which sort of indicates that it has actually cut all the way through, which is pretty cool. Another thing I do before I move it, you can let the smoke go before. But you kind of hold it and just tap it and see that that's actually cut it out. And if it hadn't, I could actually hit play again and it would do the exact same spot. But if you move it, you can't do it again.
Has it come out?
So that one has come out. And you can see that, you could probably poke that through, but run the risk of probably breaking a few of them. But I'd get an X-Acto knife and just punch them through. But remember, you're going to have it skinnier, so your lead pencil should make it. And this is a little bit of a painful product to work with because it puts a bit of an oily soot. Look at that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I just love how accurate this thing is. Cutting away from like that.
Now, will the pencil kind of like you say it might?
So have you got your lens?
Perfect. That's amazing.
Look at that.
That is great.
When did you
That's
pick it
so
up?
exciting. Oh my goodness, Dan, thank you so much for your time. Sorry to hold you up.
That's alright.
So awesome.
So when you're done, just flicker off.
Okay.
Happy days.
Thank you.
And that's free trial for 30 days. So if you
Okay.
want to go home and play with it at home.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's heaps of videos online. So that's where I kind of learned what each of the
Wow.
tools do.
Okay.
so powerful, so cool. The only one thing I wish it had was rulers, just like SketchUp, because you could just sketch out all your rulers and then lock it to those points and be very accurate. But I'm sure they'll come out with that at some point.
Yeah, well, you